Hey everyone! Welcome to day 4 of the 12 Days of Joy. I'm Aisha Love, founder of Multidimensional You. For anyone new joining us or stumbling across this live series, meant to bring everyone a bit of joy and a little bit more than that. As always, with these multidimensional transmissions that I'm interprompted to run during certain windows of the year. The last time I did one of these was Higher Love Alchemy back in April, May. That playlist is available on the channel if you want to go back and visit that. There's a lot more than just getting a little more peaceful, grounded, centered, and all that. That is a side effect for sure, but there's a lot more going on here than just a little calm and joy. So my daughter and I were musing about that this morning. It's lovely to see all of the love in the chat, by the way. Just gorgeous to see that and the kind of community that's here. So thanks for being a part of this with all of us. So I'd like to hear, before we go into whatever comes through today, what did you notice yesterday? My daughter and I drove to Jackson, Wyoming yesterday for a lovely meal, and then drove out towards the Tetons, came across 3 big, beautiful moose. If you haven't been on my socials, you can go see a couple of pictures of them there. Maybe I'll put a video of the one. He's so cute. He's eating the snow. I've worked a long time in the shamanic tradition. So of course, when you look up moose, it's strength, resilience, and all the good stuff. So it was beautiful to see that reflected in triplicate in the triad of 3 of them. Repeating numbers in 3s on license plates the whole drive. And when we got there, I mean, to the point it became ridiculous, from the 333s everywhere, the 555s, 888s, the 111s, right? Like, so I was like, and the birds I noticed the whole drive were very active, first of all, which was unusual because it's kind of a bit of an inclement day, overcast. And one thing I noticed about all of them and the quality of their flight was that they all seemed to be careening and trying to keep up with fast moving air currents, even though it wasn't windy. And it really struck me as a very symbolic representation of what we're all in, which is very fast moving dimensional blend at this time. Particle rotation of spin, if we get into the multidimensional physics of what we're all living through, is changing, and we are all doing our best to keep up with that. So a lot of what I have been guided to bring through, including this series, is designed, as I understand it, to help our human form and our kind of the composite of who we are, which includes a personality construct that has to navigate walking as human, how to navigate in an incredible time of shift, which is exceptionally unique. It doesn't happen very often in a system like this. So it presents an amazing opportunity for the consciousness that we are, whether it's a soul, oversoul, or beyond, incarnating to have this experience. And massive amounts of purging and old files and ancestral traumas are being cleared and healed for the first time in thousands of years, I'm being told. So again, I just want to help everybody orient and understand, like, yes, let's cultivate joy, but let's also be very, like, what's the word I'm trying to find? It's like, let me be real. This series is way more than some breath work. This is full on embodiment shift and change and template changes in order to stay in sync with a very fast moving system, in the same way that the birds were trying to find not their footing, but their wingtips on these fast moving currents. So I hope that gives you a little bit more framework for what we're all doing here and why I was called to bring this out at this particular time. Okay, I hope that's helpful. So what did you all notice yesterday? I definitely saw in the comments some feedback on people catching old thought streams and catching that. Like it runs in the background and you don't realize how much it's impacting you until we're engaging with a series like this, where you're going to have new clarity and come into greater wholeness. And a lot of that other stuff just seems like the rubbish it was, absolute distortion, right? Like a perceptual distortion in the way that you're seeing and thinking and perceiving. That's the ultimate alchemy. Mm, nice to see you all saying hello. And I'm going to pop the chat out so I can read it a little bit better. Sarah Grace, you had loads of energy before bed after doing the transmission. You laid awake processing old thought streams and making rapid shifts in patterns. Then sleep was full of busy dreams. Yeah, I also noticed I had you had vivid dreams too. Okay, Tiffany, I remember. um, I also had a bit of a physical purge yesterday at the end of the day. Maybe about 5-6 hours. I noticed I went through it, which didn't surprise me given the level of frequency we're working in. All right, well, let's go ahead and see kind of. I was guided very specifically to work with the pink ray today. This is why I'm wearing my rose quartz, my pink, and like a softening. We've done some really intense energy work. Yeah. So there's this wanting to to have a moment of integration. There is still a lot clearing today. A lot is clearing from the jaw still. Ooh, it's interesting. Yeah, so we're just initiating a bit of a clearing. The heart is expanding and clearing out. So just breathe, come back into your center, come out of the mind, drop into the heart, soften the gaze, relax the jaw, relax the shoulders as much as you can. Bring relaxation, the attention and intention of relaxation to your whole body. Focus on your breath. Place a hand over the heart, high heart here, and then another hand over the top of that, and gently press. This releases oxytocin, and it also just makes you feel held by yourself. There we go. Yeah, I just felt a whole bunch of people downshift. That feels better. There's so much about a human walk that can key up our nervous system. So it's good to have these countermeasures. So take a few deep breaths in and out through the nose. As you do, expand your heart, expand your belly. Lengthen the breath even more. Go ahead and close your eyes if you'd like to. Go deeper inward. There we go. It's been a busy week for many. Christmas was yesterday. It's natural to come kind of off a bit of a high into a bit of a lull. Sometimes it can feel anticlimactic. So what we're doing now is doing sweeps. We're going around and finding all of those emotions that don't really have a place. We don't have ritual for this in our society. We have ritual for parties and the highs. We don't have ritual for the aftermath, the cleanup. There's literally, like I'm being shown the metaphor of wrapping paper to clean up, dishes to do, right? And we're translating that now into an invitation to your emotional body. And maybe the state of a little bit of debris, things got stirred up. If you were around family or just old memories, the collective itself can go through a really difficult purging. Yeah, there we go. So we're just, the solar plexus, we're bringing all of that churn up into the heart center to alchemize it. Yeah, to bring it home. Ooh, yeah, I just brought a whole bunch home. So today I'm being shown, I keep using the term like the day after, the aftermath of the holiday, we're going and we're finding all the errant emotion. And this is good to do anytime because so much of it accumulates because, again, we were not trained in psychic hygiene. So whether you're watching this replay right now, the day after Christmas, or sometime in July, the intent is the same, that we're going and finding all of the errant emotional energies of discord, but especially the ones that feel neglected, cast out, exiled, left out in the cold, unseen, unheard. My daughter and I witnessed a difficult scene in a restaurant where a mother was being physically abusive with her daughter, and watching the aftermath of what the child was experiencing, trying to hold as much equanimity, even though it hurt our hearts, for that soul's walk of like, to be treated that way by your own mother, by the society at large, like many of us have, the harshness of this realm. And to understand that the context is, how do we find our own love? How do we inner source our own love after maybe a lifetime of that kind of neglect, abuse, rejection, invalidation? The mother was just repeating what was done to her. Ooh, yeah, that's clearing a lot for everyone. So much alchemizing. Breathe. This is a really deep clearing and healing for many of you, I can tell. And for myself, I'm always receiving as well. Yeah, keep breathing. That just brought up a whole bunch of emotion. All the abuse, all the neglect on the planet, people, animals, there we go. We're going beyond ourselves at this point into the collective field, bringing a lot of that home. As you take a deep breath, you're going to notice there's a lot shifting. I just got a little dizzy. So we just alchemized so much and cleared so much and brought home so much. So like you feel high when you do this kind of alchemy, because as opposed to feeling anchored and weighted down by the usual suspects of difficult, heavy emotions, you begin to feel much lighter. And it can be a very novel sensation. Yeah, there we go. Sandbags coming off the hot air balloon, right? Yeah, here we go. All right, so now that we've cleared that level of difficult emotion, yeah, I'm being told go ahead and we'll just keep shifting into the next key. Yeah. And they're saying each time we do this, you're going to be able to rise a little bit higher or faster in your frequency spin. The electron spin is what we're talking about here, particle matter. And we're working with antiparticles, apparently. There's a lot to the multidimensional physics I won't necessarily geek out on, because we don't need to know it at this level. We're doing it in our embodiment. There we go. It's just shifting again. Lots of energy coming through the hands now. So breathe. For more, you're doing more. Other people, I can tell there's more of a data dump. There's even more files clearing out in the solar plexus. Yep. We're going to do another stage of that clearing. And from the root as well. The root chakra and the solar plexus are really clearing right now. There we go. Whew. And for little girls, like we saw yesterday, who feel lost and abandoned by their immediate family, new pathways are opening up, so that just like we experienced yesterday with the changing of the guard and new guides and not feeling so alone in our walk here, we are paying it forward and creating that effect for so many others to not feel so alone. We're actually shifting the template, both individual and collective, of what it means to be in community, emphasis on unity. There we go. Yeah, there's a lot of work happening across a vast spectrum of time and space, across many different dimensions. There we go. Yeah, wow. So it's beautiful because our collective is radiating, and just a beautiful, like, I'm being shown a bright shining star. And this is being felt, the ripples of this are being felt across a very, very vast array, far and wide. Take a few deep breaths. And we're circling back to gather up some of our own fragments, especially the inner child from different ages. There we go. A lot of that just got called home too. Ooh, heart. Yeah. Imagine all the slights and, injuries, both intended and unintended, we have endured across this lifetime from a very young age, and creates a little bit of a fragmentation. And so all of that's getting called home. And then we're going to do another key change because we can. And the physics of this, if you're curious, electron and rotation, it's electron spin, so it's angular rotation of particle spin. So we talked about, we're doing it. We're just shifting that so that you can still walk here in a physical density, but you're gaining access to higher elevation. Okay, so some of these higher states of being like love, bliss, happiness, joy. Okay, and now we're doing some interesting intertech multidimensional tech where I'm actually placing, it's kind of like a sustainer, it's being called, something to help you maintain this as you move through the day. Because again, we're all impacted by the fields around us. The sustainer is putting us in like almost like a transcendent override space. There's so much clearing again from the jaw, the tongue, the mouth, like, wow. Yeah, yeah, there we go. Okay, and I'm being shown like we're getting new footing in this space. Yep. Yeah, and everything kind of just went radio silent, which is always my sign that the work is complete. And it's amazing because there's no thought. It's just radio silent. It becomes a chore to even speak because you don't want to break the silence. There's nothing that needs to be said. It's a very peaceful place to be. And not even peaceful in the normal way, like just back in the all that is, source self expanded. And unconditional love incarnate. But I recognize I am running a live here, so I will bring myself back into an orientation of like, hey, what's going on in the chat? How are y'all doing? All right, let me see if I can make this a little bit bigger for my eyeballs to be able to see this. Oh, I can. How exciting. Jen, unexpectedly, as you went to bed last night, you got all sorts of downloads on how to work more consciously with the energy of money. That's beautiful. Yeah. So much of what we have been experiencing is walking in kind of a veiled way with bookends. And a lot of this work we're doing here is taking all the bookends off. Like, and so much more can make its way into our awareness now. The taking capacitors, limiters, governors off. You caught Kate Stape? Am I pronouncing that right? You caught yourself in old thoughts, keeping in a more positive space. This sustainer that we just did is going to help us all do that much better, like in new footing. And you found lots of images of owls yesterday popping to your view. Pink Ray's your favorite. Awesome. Miriam, you sensed needing compassion after realizing some old patterns with family members. Beautiful. Pink all day. Love it, Trudy. That's beautiful. Wanting to let go of all of your judgment and simply love, Liz. Isn't that right? I mean, when you start to recognize how liberating and freeing that is and who we really want to be, it's so much easier to engage with our judgment differently and to really start to set it down, and always to look behind it. What is it that, we maybe it's our own shadow seeking to be heard and seen that's prompting a lot of that judgment. Thanks for that reflection. Yeah, Kelly, the Higher Love series in April, May of this year with Being Breathed. Highly recommend that series. Go back and do it if you haven't, or go back and re-engage with it. You might be surprised at how much more you get from it the second time around. Big files in the root chakra, getting ready to clear out, clean out. Beautiful. Laura, you feel the higher elevation access opening. Yeah, we did a lot of alchemy today, a lot of healing. It's really beautiful. Sarah Grace, you've been clearing loads of mom stuff this week, praying that you can ensure your daughter who's 5 can be free of it and empowered by your mothering. That's beautiful. Something's coming in for you, but I feel like it's for all of us. Beware the martyr mother complex and be sure to model receiving for her, not just giving. Yeah, that just balanced something. Lots of yawning. Yeah, yawning is the register you're clearing. For those of you who don't know that, I recognize some people may be new to this work, so. Yeah, sustain and container, Rosemary. I love that. Sustainer. Nirvana Rising, I'm glad you caught it live too. Welcome. Yeah, lots of tension in the jaw from childhood. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what clears because there's just been so much. I think every day we've been clearing from the jaw that we've been doing this. Mandy, yeah, crying. Crying is clearing and cleaning. Just let yourself have the emotional purge. Good morning, Heather. Beautiful, Laura. You've got new guides coming in. Yeah, maybe you were on yesterday. If you weren't, go and enjoy that experience. Big changing of the guard right now, being able to work in and plug into much more of our own construct, our multidimensional construct. Kind of like, I'm feeling the need to explain a little bit more of the physics here. I often get sent around the planet to do grid work. 2 Christmases ago, for example, I did a solo trip to Egypt with just a couple weeks notice. And when I understood what I was doing, it was really like when you've got a big power surge coming in, you have to make sure the infrastructure can handle it. So that's what we're doing. We're getting this vehicle ready to be able to handle more and more and more is coming through us at this time. Like the wattage is going up, right? I think you all know, we walk into a room and you see somebody with really dull eyes versus super bright eyes. This is kind of what we're talking about, because at the end of the day, we're all a plasmic field of consciousness, of light. And so that's what we're doing. We're taking the obscurities and taking the lampshade off. Jen, some beautiful sweet tears with us today. Beautiful. Yeah. And the yawning, lots and lots of clearing. Beautiful. Claire, it feels like loads of collective anger just alchemized. Yeah. And especially feeling so alone and isolated, which is scary, which people often respond to fear by becoming angry. So you see the tie-in. That's all just what I got from your comment. Thank you for reflecting that, because that all is so clear that when we feel lost, afraid, and confused, many people turn to anger, and then that's flying around, and then anger begets more anger, and we're just in this echo chamber. So a lot of what we're doing and what we did today is not just for ourselves, but for the entire field, and not even just planet Earth. It went way beyond that. Miriam, lots of inner child, mother-daughter, desire to feel motherly nurturing, and new guides from other universes wanting to come in. Awesome. You saw Earth as her cosmic bright light. Awesome. Yeah, a lot of emotions for many of you today. Yeah. I am being told that for some of you, go back and engage a second and third time, you will get the deeper layers each time. We kind of only allow ourselves to do what we can handle and what our body can handle, because you don't want to overtax the body. I always set that as an intention, that nobody's going to get so blown out they can't even function. Sometimes people will make the mistake of doing like 3 meditations back to back, or experiences like this, and then they've told me like I couldn't get off the floor. So I will say that, like, if you're new, only do one of these, one day, one each day probably, or give yourself like 6 hours apart or something, and then just listen to your own inner guidance. You might be able to handle it, but yeah. Beautiful. Are moments of extreme warmness of the body related? Yeah, absolutely. Fun story. I went to upgrade my phone recently. Out of the blue, all of a sudden got spontaneously spurred to go do it. Ended up upgrading the manager of the Verizon store. And that's what he was experiencing. He's like all this heat and energy running up and down. And, he was kind of sweating. Yeah. Uh, just, it's amazing what our bodies need to do to be able to accommodate, this kind of shift in power surge. Okay, awesome. Wow, yeah, this was really, really profound, deep healing today. Do not underestimate the impact of today. Some of you may need to actually go kind of just crawl into bed, have a good cry. What are some of my other favorite things to do when I'm releasing big emotions? I'll push against a door frame, really get it out of the body, somatic body work, Epsom salt bath, walk, but really, tend to the most tender parts of yourself today. You might feel a little raw and vulnerable. After a lifetime of defending and fortifying and building defenses, when we bring those down, we can feel very exposed and kind of like that little pink thing outside of its shell, like, where's my shell? Where's my protection? So it won't last much more than today, is what I'm being told. But it is an opportunity to bring yourself the kind of nurturing maybe you didn't receive as a child, and to give that to yourselves today. There's always more tasking and doing we can do, but if you can be in a state of a little bit more stillness and being and self-nurture today, I am being told that will help your integration and help you set a new foundation for moving into this new embodiment, which is beautiful. As always, I get to play Santa still. So Sarah GK 333, I really loved your comments. Thank you so much for the reflections. And so you are receiving the Awakening Foundations course. This is what I decided. I'm going to give away 12 of these, pretty much a value of 12,000 across 12 people. And then you'll have a whole cohort of peers that you're going to be traveling with. It's a 6-month program with a bunch of different modules and emails and support. And it's all the good basics, but really designed to help you inner resource, inner align, and all of that good stuff. So just write into info@multidimensionalu.com and we'll get you set up with that and you'll start receiving the emails. Yes. Yay. And many of you on here are already in the Higher Love family, but I would make that invite as well for $33 a month. I mean, it's kind of a no-brainer. I was guided to create that after the first Higher Love series that I ran in April, May. It's doing the same thing. So after these 12 days are up and you're like, what happened to all the great energy work? You can be in there and receiving that and be in community. We have 50 some people in there from all over the world. You guys are all beautiful. The way you support one another, the way you welcome new people in. Thank you for co-creating this space with me and with your peers. It's gorgeous to watch. And then, my team, Sarah, when they were having me talk to you about motherhood and demonstrating receiving, I could feel my own team be like, that's you, that includes you. So in the interest of balancing myself out, I am gratefully accepting donations for this free series. We'll put the links in. Actually, I'll just put it. They're telling me, you better put it in right now. I'm like, okay, I will do that. I will graciously receive. Many of us got that program of it's better to give than receive, which is a distortion and pulls us out of balance. So it's not what it's cracked up to be. No civilization, no person, no family experiences heightened states of embodiment if they're out of balance in one form or another. So we have, on this planet, martyr and self-sacrifice. Oh man, those programs are still running strong. I will just say this in the terms of motherhood, because I'm being asked to speak to it a little bit more, especially we're in the holidays. I remember one year I went to get a Mother's Day card and I recognized how many of the cards were reinforcing a woman's value based on how much she gave to everyone else first and herself last. I'll be honest, when I was reading all these cards, it kind of made me want to barf. I realized that, we're way out of balance in the system of expecting many women to literally sacrifice their life essence for others. This is also Dr. Gabor Mate, if people are familiar with his work, started to figure out that women are dying of autoimmune disorders at 3 times the rate as men because they're taking on the family's emotions, and it's killing us. So this is like my PSA to those of us who chose a female embodiment and became a mother or grandmother. Nobody's going to balance that back out if you don't take charge of it, because everyone is benefiting from your self-sacrifice. So as I'm saying these words, I'm really checking in to what we were given today, which is to self-nurture. And so I'm realizing that I know exactly what I'm going to be doing today, which is tending to myself. So put your own oxygen mask on first. Don't be so quick to derive a sense of value from self-sacrifice and martyr. And men do this too, right? We all have been trained in this way. And the value judgment is it's selfish to do differently. But what would it be like if you just did something purely for yourself today? Yeah, you feel that energetic invitation. You would be an amazing role model, is what you would be for balancing out a system. And if you're on the other extreme, not many people who find their way to me are, because you tend to like attracts like, right? But if you're on the other extreme of being on the take all the time, balance out by giving and serving, find the harmony and balance. Awesome. Tracy, you nearly gave yourself completely away, mothering. Yeah. Yeah. And we don't have to judge it harshly either. We can hold that with loving compassion and move forward differently with a new level of awareness. Sarah Grace, you're spending the day with your sister who's steeped in martyr. Yeah, yeah. Thank you for prompting this conversation. It's an important one to bring ourselves out of distortion and into much greater balance. So again, there was a lot of clearing, healing, alchemizing today. Drink a lot of water and take really good care of yourselves today. Self-nurture like you've never self-nurtured. My daughter got me some fun stuff like that. So I think I'll do a little spa day for myself and chillax. All right. I love you all so much. Say your adieus and farewells and share all the love as we sign off. Thank you. Thank you, Tej. Beautiful. Love you all so much. It's lovely to feel you all here and read your comments. Thanks for being present today. And I will see you all again tomorrow. Big love. See you all again soon. Bye for now.